Good morning, room 15. Today is Tuesday, May 26th, and it is our last week together online. Um, some of you will be turning your iPads in on Friday, and if you're going to summer school or ESY, then you'll be keeping it and you'll continue your online learning when that time comes. And I know you will be given a packet, so you're not completely off the hook yet. You will be given a week's worth of work. One of them's a really fun one, so I highly suggest you do that one. But you'll have that. Okay? Don't forget to keep in touch. I'm going to go ahead and read 2 chapters so we can finish by Thursday. That's my goal. If I have to do 3, I'll do 3. You ready? It's Hard to Be President, Chapter 6. The next day, Mr. Macky popped his head in our class right after the morning announcements. "Are you all getting excited about President's Day?" he asked. "Yeah," said the girls. "No," said the boys. "I have a question for you," Mr. Macky said. "What color is the White House?" Everybody waved their hands around in the air. Even the dumbest dumbbell in the world knows that the White House is white. That's why they call it the White House. Duh. But Mr. Macky didn't call on any of us. Instead, he called on Miss Daisy, who was waving her hand just like the kids. "The White House is blue, right?" said Miss Daisy. I slapped my head. She doesn't know anything. "The White House is white," we all shouted. "Oh," said Miss Daisy. "I thought it was a trick question." Miss Daisy is crazy. She is the dumbest teacher in the history of the world. "To what do we owe the pleasure of your company, Mr. Macky?" asked Miss Daisy. "That's grown-up talk for. What are you doing here?" "I thought I would tell the students a bit about the president," said Mr. Macky. "It might help them decide which president to choose for their oral reports." "Excellent idea," Miss Daisy said as Mr. Macky went running out of the room. "Where did he go?" asked Ryan. "Who knows?" I said. "He's weird." Mr. Macky came right back in, but this time he was walking in on his knees, and he had shoes on his knees, so it looked like he was really tiny. "I'm James Madison," Mr. Macky said. "I am the 4th president, and the shortest. I'm about 5 feet 4 inches tall, and I only weigh 100 pounds. "What a shrimp," Ryan said. Mr. Macky excused himself and ran out of the room again. Then he came back with a cigar in each hand, a cigar in his mouth, and 2 cigars sticking out of his ears. "Who are you now?" asked Andrea. "I'm Ulysses S. Grant," said Mr. Macky, "the 18th president. I smoke 20 cigars a day." "That's disgusting," Michael said. Mr. Macky ran out of the room again. He must have stuffed a bunch of pillows under his shirt, because when he came back, he was really fat. Nobody can gain weight that fast. "Who are you now?" Emily asked. "I'm William Howard Taft," he said, "the 27th president. I weigh more than 300 pounds. I had a special bathtub built for me in the White House." So that's him as James Madison, the shortest president. You see he has the shoes there. And let's go on. "You should go on Weight Watchers," I said. "My mom lost 20 pounds that way." Mr. Macky ran out of the room again. When he came back this time, he was wearing a dress. "Who are you now?" Ryan asked. "I'm Franklin D. Roosevelt," he said, "the 32nd president. My mother made me wear a dress until I was 5 years old." "Your mother was weird," I said. Mr. Macky ran out of the room again. When he came back, he wasn't wearing any clothes at all. He just had a towel wrapped around him. "Who are you now?" Michael asked. "I'm John Quincy Adams, the 6th president. I like to go skinny dipping in the Potomac River near the White House." You're really weird, I said. Mr. Mack kept running in and out of the room over and over again. Each time he came back dressed up like a different president. Jefferson, Reagan, Kennedy, Jackson. It went on and on. That's him in a dress. We learned a lot of important stuff about the presidents, like which one grew the first tomatoes in America, Jefferson, and which one was a member of the Beatles, Harrison. Most of them were weird. Did you know that Andrew Johnson was the 17th president and never went to school? It's true. He didn't even learn to read until he was 17 years old. See, that just proves that any dumbhead can grow up to be president. Finally, Mr. Mackey stopped running in and out of the room. He was panting and gasping for breath. Being president is a very hard job, he said. Who's your favorite president, Mr. Mackey? Andrea asked, who never misses a chance to brown-nose a grown-up. Mr. Mackey said, rubbing his chin where his fake beard used to be. That's a hard one. I think my favorite president is Millard Fillmore. He was the 13th president. Millard Fillmore? Can you believe that? That guy's name was really Millard Fillmore? He must have really been a great man. Anyone who could become president, even though his name was Millard Fillmore, must have been a great man. I know that if my name was Millard Fillmore, kids would make fun of me all day long. I'd have to move to Antarctica. You know what I like best about Millard Fillmore? Mr. Mackey asked us. His name. Then he started writing on the blackboard. Millard Fillmore. Fillard Millmore. Moormill Fillard. Lard Fill Moormill. Mill Fill Moorland. Landmore Fillmill. He went on like that until it was time for lunch. Mr. Mackey is wacky. Chapter 7. I wish I had a TV in my pajamas. We went to the vomitorium for lunch. I sat with Ryan and Michael. Andrea and her annoying friend Emily were at the next table. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Michael had a ham sandwich. Ryan had a witch sand, which is a sandwich with the meat outside and the bread in the middle. Ryan invented the witch sand. He should get the Nobel Prize. Which president are you going to be for your oral report? Michael asked. I'm going to be James Garfield, Ryan said, because I like Garfield the cat. I'm going to be Herbert Hoover, said Michael, because he was named after a vacuum cleaner. I think the vacuum cleaner was named after him, I said. What about you, AJ? Asked Ryan. Which president are you going to be? I don't know yet, I told the guys, but it would be cool to be president for real. Nobody could tell him what to do. I bet the president can stay up late, even on school nights. I bet he can eat candy anytime he wants, Ryan said, and he doesn't have to brush his teeth. I bet he doesn't even have to make his bed, I said, or clean up his room or feed his fish. I'll bet he can watch TV in his pajamas all day if he feels like it, said Michael. The president has a TV in his pajamas, I asked. That's cool. I noticed that Andrea and Emily kept turning around and giggling. Girls are always giggling. Andrea and Emily were probably talking about girly stuff like smelly perfume and how many pairs of shoes they had. We have more important stuff to talk about, like whether or not the president has a TV in his pajamas. We ignored them. Our conversation was none of their beeswax anyway. Do you think Mr. Mackey was telling the truth when he said Abraham Lincoln had to write on a shovel? I asked the guys. Lincoln should have used a computer, Ryan said. It's much easier to write on. Yeah, but you can't use a computer to dig a hole, Michael pointed out. Well, you can't check your email on a shovel, Ryan said. You could check your email if you had a shovel with a built-in computer, I told them. So those are the boys and girls at lunch. They're giggling, they're talking. The lunch lady, Miss LaGrange, told us that it was time to clean off our trays. Andrea and Emily walked by our table. Boys are dumbheads, Andrea said. So if you were trying to picture what AJ and his friends were talking about, there it is right there. If you can see, the shovel says something about an email. Silly boys. All right, until tomorrow, I'll go ahead and read 2 more chapters. Ooh, this is a long one. So bring your patience. Okay? I'll see you then. Bye.